Hello, everyone. Welcome to another webinar from SQL Maestros. Hope you're all doing good. Today's topic is extended events. Before I begin, a quick test again. If you can use the chat window and let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, hi there. And you can also see the screen, which I'm sharing just now. Looks like should be up in a moment. What's up with the screen? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yes, now you can see the screen as well. All good. Okay. We're all set. All right. Welcome once again, friends. A few housekeeping stuff, very, very straightforward. Almost every Thursday at the same time, we are doing a lot of events. I guess you're aware that is on sqlmaestros.com/live. Some links are there in the chat window. So you could, not this one, you could ignore that. I am going to give you another one. Just a moment. There you go. You should use these set of links that I've given you just now. So those are the links where you can stay connected with us and you could be notified on new upcoming sessions. So each Thursday we have a session at the same time and you can join all of those. Today's topic is extended events, and I'm doing this session a bit differently than what I typically do. So I was thinking, if we are talking about extended events, there's so much about the framework and architecture of extended events. Like, what is extended events? How does the messaging system work? What are the different components in the extended events framework? What are the different objects and classes? And really, there's a lot of theory, there's a lot of architectural stuff that we can talk about in extended events. And it all comes under the topic, what is extended events? But you know, there are tons and tons of resources online on the internet, including very good Microsoft documentation around what is extended events. And it talks about everything, like in terms of events, sessions, targets, actions, predicates, and the entire framework. So how can I make this webinar different and give you more value for your time is to kind of practically show a few demos to you, right? And practically we can see how you can use extended events in your environment, how you can use extended events to capture performance data, and how that data can help you tune queries or tune overall server. That's the idea behind today's session. So in today's session, I am not going to discuss any theory. I know I'm not going to disappoint you. You will be happy about that because I am assuming many of you who have come to today's webinar would probably expect more demos, because that's what I am kind of popular for, is like just doing a lot of hands-on, a lot of action, a lot of demo stuff rather than opening up PowerPoint slides and kind of taking you through a lot of boring theory. So here is my suggestion. If you know about extended events, great. Today's demos can really help you move to the next level, and you can see some practical ideas and examples. And if you are absolutely new to extended events, like you've heard, but you've never worked with it and you have no idea what it is, no worries at all, because the demo itself, the way I'm going to do the demos, the way I'm going to show you the examples will teach you what extended events are. But then if everything that you see today excites you and this is something that you want to learn further and you wish to implement, because in SQL Server, I really know you would like to implement this, then go to Microsoft documentation or look for more online resources and kind of brush up on the theory and the architectural stuff around extended events, just to get a bit of more formal education. So that's the idea. Now that you can hear me, you can see me, and you have the screen also in front of you, let's straight away get down to the practical introduction to extended events. Question and answers. Please use the Q&A panel. I keep telling that in every webinar. Do not use the chat window. Please use the Q&A panel for questions and answers. Today's webinar is going to be a little shorter than really 60 minutes, but I'll just try to give you a lot of practical stuff. I may not be able to take all the questions today online. So as we always do, I will put out a LinkedIn URL at the end of the session. So whatever questions are unanswered, you can just put them there and I will answer them online. I have a bit of time constraint today, so hope to seek your cooperation there. All right, so let's get started with extended events. Now, there are so many performance issues in SQL Server, right, that you keep facing every day, day in, day out. Long running queries, right? Queries are running slow. And why are the queries running slow? Again, dozens of issues, dozens of problems. There could be issues with indexes, IO could be slow. You may have some kind of concurrency issues going on, like locking or blocking. You might have implicit conversions going on. You might have an expensive sort operator. You might have an expensive bookmark lookup operator going on. So many issues. Overall server is not performing well. There is general slowness. There's so many areas in SQL Server where you have performance issues and you keep troubleshooting. Now, extended events is a framework where it gives you that infrastructure where you can configure events, right? You can configure events and you can capture performance data, health data. And then you can use that data to come closer to what the root cause of a bottleneck is. So it's not that extended events will straight away give you a lot of answers, but it is one of the gateways, one of the techniques how you can get closer to where the performance problem is. What is the root cause of a bottleneck? And that is why extended events is such a powerful tool. The easiest way to explain you extended events could be the profiler that we had in SQL Server. I've not really worked on profiler in last maybe 2-3 years because I kind of moved completely to extended events. Profiler was a very good tool, by the way. It still is, I think. I think it still is available in the latest versions of SQL Server, but I'm kind of using the word was, like I'm using past tense because I've stopped using Profiler right now. And it was very easy to kind of create a session there and, select a few events and then start capturing the data. And as the data was getting captured, we had the live feed. We used to see what was getting captured, and then we can save it. And then we can do a lot of slicing and dicing, filter on that data, etc. Well, extended events will allow you to do the same thing. So the conceptually, extended events will let you do everything that you were doing in Profiler and probably in similar fashion. However, the framework, the architecture is totally different. In simple words, I can tell you extended events is like you putting a breakpoint inside SQL Server code. So think about like SQL Server code, like millions of lines of code and so many classes, right? And you think, hey, I want to put this breakpoint somewhere in the code. And then when the execution hits that breakpoint, you want to capture at that very moment, what are the values of variables and things like that. That is really what extended events can let you do. So it is a framework that is built inside the engine, not like an external tool that is running on top of SQL Server engine. It is something inside the engine. And with the tools that Microsoft has given to you in SQL Server Management Studio, you're literally creating sessions and using the predefined events. You are trying to extract information, performance data, health data from inside the SQL Server engine while the engine is running. And that gives you a lot of power to do things that were not possible in Profiler. Now, just like I mentioned before, that online tools and resources will give you a lot of information about what is extended events and comparisons to Profiler and the trace facility that SQL Server had. And then you may get a lot of like advantages, disadvantages, etc. But anyway, all that is a lot of theory. What I want to do today is kind of pick up randomly some common performance issues that we face in SQL Server. And there were so many, so I just kind of picked up what I could easily do in a 60-minute webinar. The first one, a slow running query, right? How can I capture relevant and meaningful information when my queries are running slow? That is the first thing that I want to do. And this is a very common thing that we do every day, day in, day out, isn't it? The second is a blocking scenario, right? Concurrency is a very common thing in database world. And every now and then your queries get blocked. But you have to understand that if your queries are getting blocked for like a millisecond or 2 milliseconds, that's not what is going to bother you. But when your queries get blocked for seconds and minutes, that is something of a concern, and you want to capture that kind of information. So something like, if my query gets blocked for more than 10 seconds, I want to be notified and I want to capture that kind of information. So I will do that. So I'm going to capture a slow running query. I am going to capture a long blocking scenario. Third one, let's drill down directly to the query. The query itself has some issue. I took up an example of an implicit conversion. Implicit conversions sometimes really hurt query performance, more specifically with the CPU consumption, the CPU cycle consumption. So I will use extended events to capture queries where implicit conversions are happening automatically without your knowledge. So these are the three things that we are going to capture, and then we will extract that performance data and kind of discuss how you can now use this data that will bring you closer to where the problem is and how you can go about fixing it, etc., etc. Okay. All right. The weird part about the webinar is I keep saying, okay, all right, and there is no response. So why not use the chat window? Are we all ready to go? These three things is what we are going to configure. At least it will be like when you type something in the chat window, yeah, you're ready to go. Yes. Okay. Ready to go. Yes. It's like you're cheering. I can hear you, you know. Yes. Okay. Some folks have raised their hands. Vijay, D, Ned, Harsha. Okay. Folks, what's the problem? I mean, can you use the chat window to kind of let me know, or you can then lower your hand if there's no issue. Okay. Samiksha also is raising hands. Okay, friends, some of you, please don't raise your hand in case there is no issue. You can please lower your hand. I can see again a few more hands are coming up. Okay, friends. So please don't raise hands. Lower all attendees' hands. That's what I'm going to do now. Okay, I've done that, which means you're all good to go. We're more than 150 people online today, going close to 200. Okay, friends, let's get started. What do we want to do? So let's jump to management. First thing, you can see the screen. Oh, you can't see the screen, is it? Oh, wait 1 sec. We got to see the screen. Yes. Is that the reason why? Okay, now let's see. Okay, we're good to go now. So we are in SQL Server Management Studio. Object Explorer is open on the left side. And what I just did was expanded management here. And in management, you can see we have extended events node here. And if I expand extended events node, we get the sessions. Now, by default, when you install SQL Server, you will see that a few events are already configured, like always on health, system health, telemetry, etc., etc. As I said, basic introduction is not what I'm doing. So kind of let's ignore that for the time being. I will create my own session. So I'm going to create a new session, or let's call it as let's use the new session dialog box. So there are two options, new session and new session wizard. I was inclined to use the new session wizard, but for some reason, let's go to new session dialog box. It might just give us more flexibility. Okay. What's up? Okay. Well, in the demo itself, SQL Server is running slow. Come on. Okay, so you have the new session dialog box that is popping up. Now you can see loading extended events information. So yeah, the first time it takes time because it has to load up a whole lot of events, which you will see now. So let's call this session as webinar demo. No worries. We are not going to use a template, but otherwise you can have some templates to pick and choose from. And templates will give you predefined events. start the event session at server startup, right? So if you want to start this particular session, the moment SQL Server boots up, you may turn that on. Start the session immediately after we create the session. We don't want to do that right now. And watch live data. All these are different options and checkboxes. Let's just leave them blank. No worries at all. Even this one for that matter. Okay. Screen is freezed. Okay. I get a message, the screen is freezed. I'm on the events tab now. I've just moved to the events page now. Can you please confirm if you can see it? Why should the events be freezed? Okay. All right. So the one Narsing, I think your name was Narsing. Sorry if I have mispronounced it, but it's fine for everybody. So yeah, please just reconnect or check your network connectivity. I am on the events page right now. And what you can see here is, let's expand it. You can see a whole lot of events on this page right now. And this is what I was talking about. All these events are categorized. So you can see something like optimization, always on, session related stuff, errors. These are different categories. And you have package and you have channel. Again, as part of framework, you may want to explore those. What I want to do here right now is take specific events and configure my session based on the 3 issues that I talked about. So the first one that I talked about was long running query. So what I can do here is, if I look up, type something like statement, STATEMENT. So you can see a few sessions will pop up that are related to statement. Now this is going to ring some bells because these are similar to what you were seeing in Profiler. So SP statement completed, SP statement starting, SQL statement completed, SQL statement starting, right? And remember, batch, SQL batch starting, SQL batch ending, etc. Now, we typically will take all 3, which is, I'll take SQL statement, SP statement, both begin and end. And then we had this one, the batch thing, right? Which is like SQL batch starting and SQL batch completed. So you know that you have a batch can have multiple stored procedures, and then each stored procedure can have multiple statements. So you kind of take all the 6 events, the begin and the start, but only for the purpose of demo, just to keep it very simple, neat and clean for the time being, I will take SQL statement starting. So let's go and take SQL statement. So I'm going to take SQL statement starting, not SP, that is SQL statement completed, and SQL statement starting. These are the 2 events. I will take these 2 events and use this arrow to move them on the right side. So you can see we have selected events on the right side. Now this user interface is not very intuitive, not some of the best GUI that you would like, but it does the job. So I have moved these 2 events on the right side. Now, you know that we got to take the completed event, SQL statement completed, because only after the statement is completed, we can get information like how much time it took for the query to execute, things like that. When the statement is starting, you do not have that information. So we have done that. Now we will look for the next one. The second one I talked about was conversion, right? Implicit conversion happening. So there is a specific event for that. That is plan underscore effect convert, something like that. Yeah, there you go. So plan affecting convert. Now, a lot about extended events I have learned is from this GUI itself. And I want to show that to you. So if I select plan affecting convert, look at a mini description out here. Let me zoom in this for you. So what does it say? Occurs when a type convert issues affects the plan. The expression value indicates the conversion that can cause inaccurate cardinality estimation or prevent from using a seek-based plan in the query plan choice. If performance is affected, rewriting the query could help. I haven't understood anything. All that I know is that if implicit conversion happens and there is a warning in the execution plan, then that will get captured here. So I'm going to take this. All right. Okay. What next?